The screen work is done. They did amazing work. All the screens are really tight, no waving, as one should expect, I suppose, from professionals, right? This is what they do all day, every day. What's really nice is when you go inside, the screens look really clear. You know, it's a little easier to tell that they're on from the outside than from the inside, believe it or not. But, you know, hats off to Timothy Harris Screen Repair. I thought the cost was very reasonable, which is why I hired him. He was professional, and his crew came out and they did a really nice job and got it done real fast. So, very happy with this. Cleaning out one of my sheds, and I looked down here and I saw something that looked a little odd. It's like, what is that? So I start playing, like I'm looking at it, and I recognize the body structure. It's petrified or dried up completely at this point. So it's too big to fit through this opening as it is dried up. However, when this feller was moist and pliable, he would fit, he or she. So let's see if I can figure out this little puzzle. Maybe there's a way I can get him to come through. This might be a two-hand job here. Here we go. I think this is gonna do it. I might break a leg. Not that it would matter. Come on. Oh my goodness. Oh. Good Lord. Can you... Oh man, I don't know if this video's upside down anymore. If it's vertical at this point. Ugh. Oh my goodness, come on. Boy, oh boy, this guy got jammed in here. Well, when he dried up anyways. Like I said. There we go. Oh. Oh yeah, petrified toad. Look at that. Good size too. Got somewhere he didn't belong, or, you know, oops. There we go. Now you're no longer upside down, I just noticed. Well, so much for that, huh? Garbage can. Looking at the door here, I see just a few things that may have to stay. You know, like if I'm not going to reframe it or something, there's obviously some stuff that would have to stay that's trying to make the frame stronger. But one thing I found is there's this piece of wood here that just kind of swings around freely. Now I know it's going to be a little challenge to see because it's dark in the shed, and when I open this door it's bright white. So, but there's a piece of wood here, and that was to keep this door open. I'm going to get this out of my way. You know, they screwed it in place with concrete screws, which, you know, is fine. You know, for given the task at hand, it's not a big deal. But it's just funny, right? Concrete screws on wood. I've seen worse. I've probably done worse. Set this aside. This might become part of the walls eventually. All right, the next thing, I'm going to see if I can get this door to stop, you know, sinking this way. I noticed on the hinge area up here, there's a good 1/4 inch drop. I think I might be able to get that to, you know, to suck up a little bit. Gee, look at that. I already took my, the board out to keep the door open, and now I'm putting it down there manually. How about that? So to do that, I'm just going to put some long screws in, and last week I did all sorts of deconstruction work and got all sorts of screws because of that. So I'm going to dig through my waste bin here and see what I can find for screws. There's no shortage. Alright, and then let me see if I can find one more style here. There we go. Alright, I'm going to show you that, show you this, show you that, and I'll show you this style. Okay, so I have a selection of screws here that I've pulled out from my my garbage bucket, my pail, right there, right? That was the pail I was dumping all my screws into when I was deconstructing the shed. I've got 4 different lengths here. Well, maybe 2 different lengths, but 3 different lengths perhaps in 2 different styles. Right? Those are effectively the same length, just a different style. So what's the difference between these two if they're the same length? The one on the left is a fine thread, and the one on the right is a coarse thread. They're both drywall screws. All 4 of these are actually drywall screws. This screw here, that's a fine tooth drywall screw. Those are made to go through the drywall and then into metal studs, right? Not all studs nowadays are made with wood, some are made with metal. Now, these 3 are the same coarse thread drywall screws. This one's the shortest. Looks like he's about 1 inch long. This one be maybe 1 1/4 inches. And then this one's quite long. And now there's an interesting different feature on this one. There's actually a neck on this where there's no threads. And they make screws like that to do typically with one thing in mind. You're screwing into 2 unique pieces. And the first piece that you're screwing through, right? So you're screwing in that direction. You enter the first piece of wood. Let me see, I can grab something small. All right, so you enter the first piece of wood and your screw goes in. And it's going in. Now it enters whatever that is anchoring to, right? There could be a 2x4 there, you know, a 4x4, whatever, a 2x6, right? You're anchoring into something. So it keeps screwing and screwing, and now as you get through this piece of wood, you start to thread into the next piece of wood, and then you get fully threaded into the next piece of wood, and then look here. There's no more threads on the first piece of wood that you went through. That allows the screw to continue to tighten on the piece of wood that you've gone into and draw this piece of wood into that piece of wood, because it'll spin freely on this piece of wood here, but it'll keep drawing tighter and tighter onto the other piece of wood. If this was threaded all the way through, what can happen is when your screw goes through the first piece of wood and you hit the second piece, a gap will be created because the screw wants to push against this piece of wood, which then draws this board away because the screw is threaded into this board. So then it hits this, there's resistance, and it pushes this board away. Now you got a gap. If you can push this screw all the way to here, and now it's spinning freely, it'll just push, it'll draw the first board back into the second board, and you get a nice tight fit. So that's why there's that neck there. So these are the ones that I'm going to use. They're nice and long. They're going to get me in through my, you know, where the door's attached. Right, it's going to go through this piece of wood here and into these 2x4s, right? So it'll go through that into these 2x4s, and then that neck will do its job and it'll draw that piece of wood into these 2x4s. And with any luck, I'll close that gap right there, right? And that'll pick the door up if it's a 1/4 inch over here, it's going to be substantially more on that side. I mean, not substantially, but maybe like a 1/2 inch at the most, right? Or something. All right, let's take a look and see how this does. Just got my trusty impact driver. And I'm not even going to pre-drill my holes here. I'm just going to go right in. Now I did learn a little trick. I'm going to see if this works. It's actually, if I go up nice and close up here to the top, and I go to screw in, there's a chance it's going to split the wood. And I read a little trick. They said if you put your screw up where you want to go, and you go in reverse threaded direction first, as such, and then you turn it around, you turn your thread direction to screw in, it won't split. So let's take a look. It split. Alright, well anyways, that trick didn't work. That's okay. So there's a screw in here that's going to prevent this board from getting up nice and tight. So this screw here was supposed to go into this 2x4 and they missed a little bit. This screw is definitely going to stop this board that I'm trying to draw in from drawing in, right? It's kind of basically, it's just in the way. So I'm going to back it out. All right. So I backed that one screw out, and I backed another out, and it really caused the door to sag even more. So now I've got the 2-man trick with one person, me. I've got to prop this door up as tight as I can get it, and then screw those screws back into place. That being said, I'm going to back the screw out that I put in earlier. Because that might stop me from really pushing this in tighter. Alright. And now I'm going to prop this door up. Let's see if this works. Oh yeah, that seems pretty good. Now I gotta prop the door. One open. Now I gotta secure it from the outside on the hinge. Okay, so I drew some screws into the, I put 2 screws in over here, and on the back side I pulled the one on the left there out and the one there on the left. I pulled that one out. When I shimmed the door up with the brick and the wood, that pushed those guys over that way, and I screwed into new holes going that direction rather than kind of like that direction. And the door seems to have stayed in its position. In addition, like I said, I put these 2 screws in. So the 2 outside screws are holding the hinge towards the structure. And, geez, I didn't really study this all that well. This isn't even helping the door go straight. It's just acting as a seal, basically. It's just trimmed. It's like when you close the door, right, you have a piece of trim there. But anyways, that had a gap right here that I've since closed up, which is great because now when I go to try to make this door a little more airtight, I just have to seal this side with some weather stripping or something along those lines. And then this, if I really need to, I can caulk, right? These gaps I could caulk if I wanted. Now, if we look on this side here, when I close, the door, which is here, is actually on the inside of the jamb, right? The door would hit on this side. Now it's coming in past the jamb. So that's good news for up top. Down below, I've still got some clearance issues, but I think that's because this metal here is bent out. So I got to figure out how I'm going to get that to go back in without having to take this piece of wood off. I don't want to have to remove the wood frame from this metal door. I just don't think that would be good. A little bit of hammer work, and this door comes all the way inside the jamb now. Now, there's still quite a bit of leakage, as you can see from the light. I'm okay with that. I am not going to kill myself with some of this stuff. This door and this shed have just been used, thoroughly. I don't want to say abused because I don't know, but it's just been used, right? And I will just use spray foam maybe in gaps like that. I'll use that rubber foam like I was talking about there. The spray foam that I'm talking about is the expanding spray foam, that like gap filler spray foam. You just buy it by the aerosol can at Home Depot. One thing that I do have that I am investigating is spray foam for the entire inside of the shed. I've got 2 companies coming out to give me a quote. If their cost is what I would estimate roll-on fiberglass to be, or within maybe $100 or $200, I'll just have the professional spray foam this for insulating factor. That's going to be super, much more efficient, I would imagine. Airtight quality, things of that nature. With that being said, I could have them spray foam the door then too. I would just maybe fill some gaps like I'm talking about, and then they could just spray foam this side because this needs to be insulated. And they could just spray foam that. Okay. So I think that's it. I'm going to go see if I can solve for these gaps. Oh, one last thing. Now that this door is closing much better, there's the latch. Latch isn't even touching the piece of wood that it was touching before. So this is just a simple little adjustment. There's a screw, an Allen wrench screw right there. Just loosen that up, slide the latch back a little bit. I don't know, it's about a 1/4 inch maybe. And then tighten that back up. And then this latch will touch that piece of wood just fine again. So I'm gonna do that, get this thing tighter. And I'll have to go buy some foam and things of that nature.